Okay.
Ready for roll call?
Yes. Thank you. So roll call, Lori,
Here.
Jeff Flynn,
Here.
Lisa, myself, present. Craig,
Here.
Evelyn,
Here.
Dave Edgington is not present. Chris,
Here.
Dave Giroux,
Here.
and Julia.
Here.
We also have Phil Sabo,
Here.
and we have
Phil.
John Moore. Okay.
Did everybody get to see the minutes from the last meeting?
Yes.
Make a motion to accept the minutes from the last meeting.
Second that motion.
Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Let's see. So really for the president's report, I have one comment. If there was public present, I would, just let everybody know that we don't engage, but I think everybody that's here knows. But I did hear back correspondence from Lou, the man with the paddle boat. And it was a very nice email. However, he would like to get together and have a conversation. I don't know what that entails yet because I haven't gotten together with him, but that's what I received for correspondence.
He was back over there a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I have no idea. It was a very nice email, but
He's
Well,
supposed
I
to
know.
get together with you?
yes.
Okay.
So obviously we don't have a vice president yet. Lisa, do you have anything you want to report?
I do, actually. So I had a conversation a few days ago with Lynn Butler, who is our new events coordinator, and talked about events, and then also talked about the pavilion reservation form. So the pavilion reservation form, we talked about where it should live. Should it live with the secretary? Should it live with the events person? And so we both felt that it would be better suited to live with the events person. So she is willing to take that on. We've already gotten one request that had come in, and she's already approved that. The question that I have, and I don't know, is the treasurer there? Is Lisa there?
She is not here. She is not on.
Okay. So I'll just need to reach out to her. The question that Lynn Butler had was the checks that come in with the reservation form. Her preference would be not to hold those checks or handle those checks and to have those checks go directly to the treasurer. So I'll reach out to the treasurer, Lisa, and ask her if she's okay with that. It looks like Evelyn has her hand up.
Traditionally, whoever takes the pavilion reservations holds the check. And most of the people do not donate the check to the association. So traditionally, whoever's doing the pavilion reservations, holding the forms, holds the check. And once everything is fine after the reservation, they pick up the check. They only go to the treasurer
Hey, Lisa,
if they want it back or if they donate it.
so Lisa Sobostanovich, Lisa Hober is now on. So I'm sorry, but you might want to ask the question again.
Yeah.
If there's an agreement and Lynn Butler is uncomfortable holding it and Lisa's okay with it, right?
So Lisa Hober,
So I've got today a request. I think we're talking about pavilion events. I know I'm late.
you got it.
I got
Lisa,
something. I got something. Well, I'm
Lisa,
sorry. Go ahead.
Lisa Sobostanovich would like to ask you something.
Go ahead.
So the question was, I had a conversation with Lynn Butler, the events person for this year, and we talked about the pavilion registration or reservation form and where should it live. So we felt that it would be best suited to live with her. Her only concern was collecting the monies. She didn't want to have to hold the monies, the checks, or cash or whatever comes in. And her question was, if the money comes to the treasurer for you, then she would do reservation forms.
That's been the practice the last year. The former secretary had me hold the checks. The forms come through the mail. This one came to, so my plan was to scan this and send it to Lynn Butler pending this meeting. I was going to table this, and yeah, I have no problem holding the checks. And like Evelyn, I think I heard Evelyn saying just at the beginning was that, people generally say destroy them.
Okay.
Rarely, they're not often donated.
Do you have
Okay.
your TV on, Lisa, over?
Do I have my what?
You have your TV on?
Yeah, probably.
So then, Lisa, if you're in agreement, I'll reach back out to Lynn Butler and let her know. And then, so that means I would need to change some of the instructions that are on the reservation form. So I'll do that.
Well, the reservation form says to send it to you,
Right. So I'll change that
but where would you have them sent to?
to Lynn Butler.
She missed that part, Lisa.
Missed that part.
Yeah, so you're going to have them send it to her personal address because
We're going to have it sent to, don't we have her as the events?
Her email.
right, but
Yeah.
so I mean, so you would change it to the same address, but it would just be events.
Correct.
Okay. So I mean, okay, whatever works for you guys. I mean, when I open up the mail and I open up that mail, if Lynn Chrissy goes to get the mail, she opens up the tax bills that she thinks are evident, but she leaves the rest of it for me to open. I open it, and then I mean, whether it says events or secretary, I'm still going to open it to make sure that that's what it is. And then I would just scan the document, make sure she got a copy of it. I keep a copy of it, so forth.
So still have to go to the PO box?
Yes.
Is everybody okay with that? And then Lisa, you will send it to Lynn Butler.
Right. Because, she's keeping the calendar. I'm assuming she's keeping the events calendar, right?
Yes. Yep. Okay. Everybody good?
Yeah.
Lisa, do you-
Can I just ask a follow-up question? So we talked about it coming in the mail. The request that I just received was in email. So that's still okay for email, correct?
Yeah. It wasn't from Brian Smith, was it?
Yeah, it was. Yep.
Yeah, that's the one I got in the mail today.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. That was it for me, Lori.
The timestamp on it. No.
So the vice president vacancy, we need to fill. And I want to say just for, based on my experience, personally, getting into this position, pretty much was an unexpected event. And so as vice president, should anything happen if a diaper truck runs me over, the vice president assumes the role and finishes out the term till August. Till a new president can be voted in or.
Oh my God.
So did everybody kind of understand that? So we're looking for a vice president volunteer. Everybody jump up and down.
I would throw my name in if no one else wants it.
I second Julia. First.
So Chris is making a motion to elect Julia as vice president.
Does anybody else want? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Are you going to second
I
it?
second it.
All in favor for Julia to be vice president? Aye. He carries. Great. Great, great,
Thank you,
great.
Julia.
Thanks, Julia.
Congratulations.
Just nothing better happened to Lori because I will not be able to do the job that she does.
Thank So Lynn is not with us tonight, and you know what? I think she did send a tax report. And I think she sent it late because I did not check my mail, but here it is right here. Sorry. So traditional tax collection has closed. There's 6 people. I'm generalizing this. She goes into much more detail, but I don't think that's. She attached a spreadsheet, so I'll just tell you the financial aspects. So she doesn't have her totals. Oh, she does. I'm sorry. So total due 2022 is $3,877.48. So that's pretty much what we're looking to still collect for our revenue for this year. And then, of course, she did do some Jeopardy billing, which would bring in revenue for next year, but will be put on the prepaid taxes. That's really all I know.
Nothing else crazy other than that.
Correct. Yeah. You know, there's some liens put out, 6 people. That total of 3877. That's it. If nobody has any questions that I probably can't answer anyway. Lisa, can you give us your treasurer's report?
Am I still mic'd open? Yep, I am.
Mhm.
Other than I sent out an email with, normally I put the treasurer's reports on the drive and I notify you of that. This time I actually sent out for new board members who aren't aware of what the reports look like. I attached it to an email with November and December so you could see a delta between the flow. And if you have any questions, I'm here to answer. I take that as a no.
No question.
Phil, you gonna bring up the other stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Communications. So you see, we did change the agenda a little bit. We took out some committees or some that were listed as committees and made them services because they really weren't committees. And communications is one of those. Pretty much postage and, well, it included constant contact, which Craig, you and I got to talk about.
Okay.
We got to talk about domain authentication. Otherwise, none of our email blasts are going to be sent out or received. They'll be sent out, they just won't be received. So I did talk to my daughter about it.
Okay.
And the website has errors, so it's not letting me do it.
The constant contact site or our site.
Mhm. So we'll talk.
Okay. I spoke with Mike today. So we can talk after.
Okay, good. Yeah, we can, I mean, we could table it, but
Yeah.
it's right now we can't send out emails that are going to get to people.
Okay.
Email blasts. It's just a new law that passed in January 1st. And they're trying to, the government's trying to put
A
on.
new law that says what?
You have to self-authenticate. So in order to do that, well, anyway, we'll talk about it later.
All right.
But right now we're kind of stifled a little bit, sending out email blasts. We can send them out, but people may not get them. So Craig and I will work on that.
Yep.
We need somebody to, and this might be a little soon now, but when the summer comes and the newsletters start coming out, I think the first one comes the last week of June. We need someone to proof the newsletter for content and dates. We need a volunteer.
To proof the newsletter for content and dates.
Yeah, so like whatever dates are written in there for events, just make sure they're correct and make sure that the newsletter has appropriate content.
Who writes the newsletter?
Well, last year it was, Gary Cohen, and he put all the data together. And then, Rachel, who was doing our constant contact, and she was proofing and, well, she wasn't proofing it. She was
Doing it.
proofing it. I looked at it for content and dates.
She was formatting it.
She was formatting it. She was making it prettier.
Yep.
She was, we don't have that this year, but I think Gary's got it down. So it'll be straight from Gary to whoever will proof it.
Okay. And proofing is, where's the backup? It's just looking at the calendar, just comparing the newsletter to the calendar.
And making sure like the verbiage,
Okay.
is,
I'll proof it. I don't have a problem with that.
okay. So he'll send it to you weekly. And then you just tell him, and even if there's anything else to add or
Sure.
whatever that you know of.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Just stepping in it now, huh?
Woo.
Taking all the easy ones. Thanks, Julia, for taking the VP one. That one's great.
Nice. Cool.
So that's all I had on communications. Geese,
Yeah, they're here.
I've seen them.
Yeah, had about 100 of them come down my end yesterday and fly off. So they're still here. I did have Nutmeg Farms coming out a couple times in November and December, but I got to save the rest of the money that I had for the spring, so she's not coming out. And I'm not going out there. So whatever's there is there until April.
Okay. I don't think anybody's having any trouble on the beach.
Now they're staying pretty much mid-lake, but there's a lot up here.
People are chasing them from everywhere, from one lake to another. Okay, lake quality. Are you done, Evelyn? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Lake quality, Corinne sent me an update. I'm going to read it to you. She does a lot of hard work that's behind the scenes that nobody sees. So town submissions have been prepared and were being inputted into ClearGov over the past weekend by Brittany from Moodus Reservoir. Our lake is once again asking for approximately $15,000 to help pay for our annual lake expenses and another capital request of $15,000 for dam repair. That would bring the dam fund to $60,000 if approved. So this will be the fourth year that we get the $15,000. And of course, that's reimbursable. The East South Lakes Association met this past November. These meetings can be useful to share war stories, treatments, etc. We will put one together this summer again, hopefully. We are very lucky to be a taxing district as these other lakes struggle more with financing things. We will be asking the town when we meet with them to go over our numbers to start thinking about setting up a fund to help fight hydrilla if that were to show up in any of our lakes. Hopefully it doesn't. I'll keep you posted on the town meeting schedules. Last year, we only met with the Board of Selectmen. I've received a 2024 contract proposal from Solitude and need a question answered about treatment timing before I send it over to you for signature. The amount of the contract is exactly $10,000, which is reasonable. I'm talking to other, so she is going to talk to other vendors. I'm going to skip over a little bit. It's lengthy. They're going to meet, the LQIC committee is going to meet over the next couple of weeks to discuss the nutrient runoff and how to mitigate that. She's still looking for a grant for the weed treatment. And then I think everybody saw the email on the dam. She prints it when she has a chance. Okay. So that's pretty much it. She really does do a lot of work behind the scenes that not everybody gets to see. So that's pretty much it for lake quality. Unless anybody has any questions.
There's no action items there, right?
No action items. She's just kind of letting us know where she's at, where things are at. She stays on top of it. Properties.
That'd be me.
That'd be you, Phil.
Top of the evening, everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year,
Happy
Phil.
New Year.
I got a call. All right. I was in touch with Lisa Colber, and she finally got a hold of the sign guy for our south end sign, and the price that was quoted was $3,500. I probably asked Lisa to jump in it here because I don't, that was just for the sign was the $3,500, and to have that installed, I believe Tom Crest did our last one. Not sure. That was before my time. I know with myself, Gary, and Dave, last year we did, the last couple of years we did all the street signs. I don't think this is a sign for weekend guys to do. I think this is a sign that a professional should do. So that's going to cost us a little bit more. I know we have $3,000 in the budget for it. So you guys got to make a decision on, first of all, I guess the money. Second of all, the install. And third is where to place the sign.
I was going to ask you that, Phil. Does someone feel strongly about it, and has anyone committed to having a sign put in their yard?
I spoke out to one person. It's the house right after my Alzheimer's setting in. The first house down at the south end, John.
Van Zetten.
And then you got an empty lot next to John, and then there's another house next to that. The house there owns that empty lot. I talked to them probably 2 years ago. They agreed to put it there on their property. The board at that time couldn't make a decision on if we wanted to put it on private property or did we want a double-sided sign that we would put across the street. And we never happened. So I'm going to put it back into the board's hands of what they want to do as far as looking into a price. Thank you, Lisa, for getting the price for the one-sided. Do we want to go two-sided? And if we go with only a one-sided, where do we put it? I did get permission, but that's up to the board now to decide what you guys want to do. Okay? Questions? Go ahead.
Phil, so if you did a double-sided, would it go across the street from the Van Zettens where you enter the ball field?
Yeah, yes, in that area.
Is that town property and we have permission to put it there?
I would talk to the town about it.
Okay.
I mean, we do have property a little bit past that. I don't know how far our property comes over. So it could be, I know the town owns 10 feet from the middle of the road in. I know all that stuff. But I would get together with the town to make sure. I haven't done that. So it's a good question. I don't know where we own too.
So just for awareness, because I'm going to guess a lot of the board members don't know, back in 2018, $3,000 was approved by the membership for this sign.
Yes.
So because it hasn't come to fruition, it is now $3,500. So that was the addition. I don't know why it was
Plus
never put in.
installation.
So second, I have two questions for you.
Yeah,
If this-
before that, before you ask me the question, sorry, the sign that we're talking about is down by the north end sign. That one big sign is duplicating that and put it down the other end of the lake. So in case I should have started there, but sorry.
I was going to ask you that. Thanks, Phil.
Go ahead,
So-
Edler, sorry.
That's okay. So that sign, if it was put right at the end of the street, right? And it was one-sided where the backside was facing the baseball field, that's still the town property, right? It's kind of jogs to the right of the fire station.
Yes,
Wouldn't that suffice?
Well, I mean, if it was, you'd see it when you're leaving the lake, not when you're entering the lake. So the question is, do we want it to be welcoming like the one on the north side?
Right.
Like that, when you turn the corner, you know, And if that's the case, then either a two-sided sign where you're talking about, or a one-sided sign on somebody's private property, which Phil has.
But even if
talked
it's
to previously.
one-sided, Craig, you got people coming from,
Yeah, but you're coming this way, you're not gonna see it. So we shouldn't spend money on something that you have to look in the opposite direction of where you're going to see. Everybody's,
right, but if it's down, if you already got to come down on somebody's property, then you still have to already be coming into the lake,
right,
right?
if you're coming, to turn left onto Lakeshore or right onto Lakeshore, and there's
Yeah.
a sign, with a nice welcoming sign with an arrow, then you'll see that. But if it's this way, parallel to the street, you won't see it.
I think,
So it defeats the purpose.
yeah, I mean,
Craig's got a good point. If it's on that left-hand side, just past the Van Zettens, you just need a one-side sign.
Right.
Because you're coming into the lake. If you're driving south, you're leaving the lake and you already know you're at Lake Hayward. You don't need a double-sided.
oh, I thought you were saying double-sided.
No, I'm saying
No,
two
he's
things.
saying,
I'm saying if we have a single-sided sign by the Van Zenten, is that the name, Van Zenten?
Yeah,
Then you're already turning onto Lakeshore and you see that there's this
Welcome.
welcome Lake Hayward
okay,
sign.
okay, I see.
But if we have a single-sided sign that's on whatever that road is that you turn onto Lakeshore on, you won't see it if it's parallel to the road. You'll
Right.
only see it if you're leaving the lake, and at that point, you don't need a welcome sign, you need a peace out sign.
Right. So have you asked the Van Zettens?
Yeah.
Yes.
You have asked them and they have agreed?
No, they were negative.
it's
Oh.
not their property. It's
Not
the
them.
one
It's right,
next to
right.
them.
There's an empty lot between the Van Zettens, and I don't know who owns the other cottage, a blue cottage set back, but there's an empty
Oh.
lot.
The big tree just fell.
Big tree just fell down.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's an empty lot there, and they said that they would be all right putting it, get together and we'll just tell them, where they want it, where we want it.
Right.
So since it was approved 2 years ago and it wasn't spent,
2018.
okay, whatever. If it was approved that long ago for 3,000 and now it's 3,500, then I would say we need to reapprove it, but we need to determine, are we doing a single-sided for that cost? And what is the installation going to cost? Because that's on top of the 3,500. And then if that's not the case, then do we explore a two-sided? If there is Lake Hayward Association property on that road. So I think we need more answers before, but we're definitely going to need to approve more money.
Lisa, go ahead.
I just wanted to add, and Phil, I didn't get a chance to follow up with you on this. I went back at Camaro Signs and just said, I explained that, we were a municipality and that we work off of a budget and that the sign was originally approved for 3,000. And I said, what can you do for 3,000?
Right.
Because I don't know how strongly the board would feel about it. Does it need to be duplicated? Could it be something different? And then just by way of example, I don't think I overstepped, but I took a picture of my Tina Good sign. That's beautiful. It says Lake Hayward. It's got the imprint on the back. And I said, if it were something like this, could you do something like this in the range of 3,000? And I haven't got that information back, but that's the information that I hadn't dispensed to you. Additionally, Corinne has a sign outstanding. And as long as we were trying to, and that comes out of her budget, that money's also there on the cash flow sheet. So I'm looking for a sign that comes under, she's got $752 there for a sign for the basin, the bio basin, but that has to be specific. And then Phil, I don't know if she had talked to you about, is there a way we could attach it to the fence, an arrow, or do we want to plant it in front of the bio basin? But these are all decisions. I'm just hearing the scuttlebutt and I'm just giving the information.
Thank
Not
you.
to have any input or about any of it, but that's,
Yeah, no, I've talked to Camaro Sign back when, as far as duplicating that sign, they said it wouldn't be a problem. I talked, because they didn't get back to me, I talked to a few other sign makers and they said that they could not duplicate that sign. We could make something close, but and then back then, like I said, that was 2 years ago and we just dropped it.
well, and that's why I'm saying the other, I didn't know if this is a conversation for the board. Does it need to be
Yeah.
the exact same sign? I was just trying to haggle, trying to get it in within 3,000. I don't think it needs to be the same side. I mean, as a member, I don't think they'd have to match, but I just want it off my books.
Right.
All right.
No, as far as the money goes, I don't think there was any, it's just a sign for the north end. As long as there's a sign, I don't think it has to match. I mean, that's up again, that would be up to the board also. I don't think there was any stipulations back then. as to what kind of a sign. They talked about putting the Lake Hayward sign like we have down there, but we can't get one. We can't get one. So,
All
whatever.
right, so I have a question for you, Phil or Lisa. Has anybody asked how much a double-sided would cost? And does anybody have any idea how much the installation would cost?
I mean, I'll just step out for a second here. I would have to say if it's a double-sided, I would have to say twice the amount, I'm guessing.
What, so no one's asked?
No,
I
I'm just
did.
guessing.
Yeah, I did. I mean, if he has to make
Oh.
the same sign up for two sides of that sign is hanging on 2 6x6s with some sort of a metal bracket, to
Yep.
hold it on there. And if he has to do both sides, the sign itself is going to be 35 a piece.
I don't think it would be double.
I
It's
don't
half,
either.
it's not any more material really,
Right, I agree.
but we have to find out is the point. So we're not going to know because we're not doing the sign. So we have to ask the question,
Right.
just so that we have the knowledge.
Yep.
Another thing is we've got to determine,
A lot more money though. I mean, it's not gonna be 4,000. It's gonna be.
yeah, it might be 5, but it's not going to be 7.
Right, right. So we need to know installation and we need to know what a double-sided would cost.
Well, let me just.
And additionally, and I'm with Phil, Camaro signs, I think it's a one-man operation. They're not very communicative. I've been chasing. So it's been, I've taken a break for the last few weeks, but it's taken weekly emails to get responses. So I think you have additional things to consider.
They're each never got theirs.
All right, never mind.
You might get raised.
Say that again.
I don't know. I said you have additional things to consider because, as Phil was saying, they're hard to reach. Camaro Signs is like maybe a one-man operation, so I'm not getting a lot of communication back. And my next step was to work with Phil and look for additional sign companies to get a different estimate for both signs.
So,
But here's what I'm going to say to you. If you're talking about, so this $3,000 was voted on by the membership. So if you want approval to get more money in that pot for that sign, we're waiting till August to get that membership to vote on more, or you're finding the money someplace else in your budget.
but also, we don't know where this sign would go. So we have to
Right.
find out first.
Well,
So-
then, and also if you're not going to put it on lake property, you're putting it on somebody else's property. How long is it good there for? I mean, you might get some goodwill natured people to say, yeah, put it on my property. And they sell that property and somebody says, get this sign off my property.
Yep.
Yeah, that's my fear too. We'd have to get it in writing.
So, I mean, I didn't want to get into it this much. I just wanted to say that, I've been working with Phil and I've got some more information. I have no problem diving in and getting more estimates on whatever it is you all decide you want to estimate on.
Okay, so does anybody have a sense for how much of a priority is this right now? Or is it like something that we want to be ready for the spring? Because if so, we have time and we just need to compile a list of questions, which I think we already have, that we need to get answered.
Well, I think that's a starting point with the questions we're asking.
Right.
What is an actual double-sided sign cost? When can they produce it? And what is the installation and where would we put it?
I have a question for Phil. Phil, did we look into, is it possible to put it right where and this may be a stupid question, but right where the dam is?
No, that's not a stupid question, but
We're gonna have some-
that's up to you. It's up to the association. That's not up to me. As far as the dam goes, I mean, they did talk about putting another sign there, 3 years ago, and we all just kind of shot that down because we're having trouble getting one sign. But they kind of said it was a waste of time. Not a waste of time, a waste of money to put it over by the dam, even though it looks nice over there. It is a beautiful area over there. Who sees it? We wanted this to see. We want people to see this, like down at the north end. When you drive in, you see it. When you drive out, you see it. But again, I mean, this is something too. I'll say, if you just want to get table it, scratch it, get rid of it, and don't put a sign there at all. I mean, that's another suggestion too. I would think. I don't know though, if we're having all these problems.
I have a quick question here. We basically have two entrances to the lake. I mean, right. Let's be honest. I don't think people, if they're coming into the lakeshore area, go through East Shore Drive. Okay, so they're coming in over by the causeway or they're coming in the way I come in is for the people coming from Middletown area on Haywardville Road or Millington Road. It changes the name, but everybody knows what I'm about. So right at that stop sign where you have the Van Zettens on the left, again, there's like a little wooded area, right? We all know that area.
Yep.
Wouldn't a one-sided kitty-cornered sign be sufficient right there? I mean, that's demarcating the entrance to the lake, you know, and then you only need a one-sided sign. And that makes sense because that's the other entrance to the lake.
Is that lake property?
I don't know, but I'm saying that to me is so far the most logical place is to see lake property, then fine, we can do it. If it's town, maybe they don't care. We got to ask them. We got to ask them again. So, and then the only other thing I'll yield the floor to somebody else is, if we decide on the one side, two sides installation, can we scrounge up so we don't have to wait till August, $2,500 somewhere, rob Peter to pay Paul? That way, and then we proceed. That's all. Anyway, I'm all done.
Julia.
Jeff, when you say in the wooded area, do you mean to the right, when you're coming in on the right?
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, that would make, that's a good idea.
When you have, well, I mean, I go that way all the time. So that's where I've been from the shoreline, from Clinton. So you're at that stop sign, and then the Van Zettens are right on the left. You got a stop sign on your right there. That would be ideal. That's the entrance to the lake.
Lori, I thought you said right at the end of Lakeshore, which would make sense. What they're saying.
Not once. So
I'll draw it for you after.
No, wait, when
When
you come into
One more
the,
question for Lisa Hober. Did we, I don't know, or maybe it's Phil, did anyone check with John Van Zetten about installation? Because he's he's an equipment operator and he has access to,
He lives right there, right?
he lives right there.
No,
He's got the backhoes, he's got stuff.
I didn't ask him. I went down and looked at the construction of the 2 6x6s that are holding up the sign that's there. So it is going to take somebody with an auger and somebody to plant it with cement. I think everything is figure outable. I thought
Yeah, but
once
he
we
lives.
got the cost of the sign down, then perhaps we could, get estimates from
Get a
Allegra
a work-
and whoever.
or a work party or something to put it in.
And the big front porch.
Well, you're talking about a different installation. If you go two-sided, now you're talking about a different installation because I don't know how you're going to put that up there, but outside, above my pay grade.
I haven't either.
I think we need a kitty corner, a little bit angled as you're coming in on that piece of property. Welcome to the lake.
On Hayward Road.
One-sided.
Right
No,
here.
no, 'cause when you come in, Van Zetten's here. We're talking here.
Okay.
That's Van Zetten's property.
So where are you talking, Craig?
I'm talking over here.
I make it bigger.
I think that's as big as
No,
it goes.
We're talking over by the ball field.
If we go over here, we're on private. Yeah, okay. We have to scope.
All fields, fine.
But I think we can,
Street from Van Zetten, right there. Boom.
Jeff, you're talking about the right side by the entrance to the ball field, right?
Correct. But the correct demarcation would be the stop sign and Van Zetten's are right on the other side. So it's right in that general location. So
Yeah.
yes, ball field, but nothing crazy. You know what I'm saying? Right there.
Yeah. All right, but the point, so we come right back to, we don't know how much it's gonna cost. We don't really know where it's gonna go. So we know the questions that we need to ask. So let's just put them in an organized fashion and let's get the questions answered.
Right. So
And if,
to ask the town or find out if we own that land.
right, and Phil and Lisa's sign company isn't the one, then who is? But we have time to deal with it. We have a few months before, I guess, thaw.
Yeah, but just understand, the reason it got brought up, Craig, was because I've been looking at that figure for, months and, and Phil has alluded to the fact that the sign company is a little difficult about getting back and whatnot. And I agree with that because I've been trying myself. I just look at these reports that I flag everybody to take a look at every month. And that just glares at me, that $3,000. That's why it's brought up now, is because I kind of pushed it.
All right, well, let's push
Right.
the questions and let's get it resolved. And if the answer is we don't do anything, then we don't do
and
anything.
the fact that the membership voted to have it there is another consideration. So,
7 years ago.
2018. So, anyway,
Could you guys talk about this later? And could I move on?
Yes, sir.
If you have any questions, you can email me and I'll be happy to answer them. Is that all right? Or
yeah, please.
do you want to keep going with this?
No, move on.
All right. The beaches. Right now, it's early, obviously. We have 3 beach rakers. We have one. I do First Beach. I have been doing First Beach. If somebody wants to volunteer, take it over, be more than happy to give it to them. I have Dave Edgington doing Second Beach. He volunteered, and he said if a kid comes forward, please give it to the kid. Third Beach, we have nothing as of right now. With that being said, this job, this position, job, whatever you want to call it, it has kind of changed in the last 6-7 years. Because we had Mike Chupa for many years, I'll say for 5 or 6, 7 years, maybe 8 years. Mike Chupa and his children, his kids were doing the beaches, all 3 of them. Mike Chupa had a nice toy that he drove around in that he let his kids use to go to all 3 beaches, to fluff up the sand and clean the beaches and do what they have to do. He had a nice Kubota. We at the lake don't have that. What we have now, the last 2 years, is when I took this job over, I actually started with the beaches also because, we lost the machine. We didn't lose a machine. He took his machine and went home. So talking to him at that time, he says, Phil, I have a garden tractor. I'll donate the garden tractor. You guys can use the garden tractor. I said, let me try it. The first year I tried it, worked out pretty darn good. What I do is I have a garden tractor. There's no deck on it. There's no blades, no deck. And on the back of it, we have like this little tine dethatcher that we drive around and stir up the sand. Been working pretty well. And as of right now, we have, I said, two of the beaches are covered. We have 3 tractors that all have been donated. I usually try to get them running usually in April. And then during the summer, if something happens to them, whoever is using them usually has to fix them, or they'll call me and I'll go and look at it. I'm not good mechanically like that. But with that being said, is something that we haven't discussed lately is with these beach rakers. Like I said, I'm looking for one for Third Beach. At what age do we want these kids using these tractors? Before it was, we never had the tractors. Before it was all these machines, we had kids just pulling a big York rake behind them, going back and forth for years and years. That's the way they did it. What I'm looking for, I guess, is for the board to come up with some kind of stipulation, I guess, or rules on who can use the tractor. I have an idea of when they should be used. Do we want to continue to use them? Or do we want to hire somebody to do the 3 beaches? I will say I don't want to waste anybody's time as far as hiring people. I got a price last year and it was just not even close to what we're paying now. It was like probably 4 times what we're paying now for guys to come and do it. It's overtime, double time, or overtime on the weekends, and it was just crazy. But if anybody else has any ideas on the beach raking, I'm more than willing to listen.
Phil,
right now, this is what
are you down there?
Pardon me?
Do they get done every single day?
They get the requirement now is 5 days a week.
Whichever 5 days.
Definitely on Thursdays, Fridays, and Mondays. Sometimes or Sundays and Mondays. And you take 1 day or 2 days off a week, and you pick them. It's up to the person.
Okay.
So it's whoever's doing it. I mean, I when I go down to First Beach, I'm down there almost every day.
Right.
Are there times where I don't have to do it? Yeah, there are. But I go down there and I pick up the garbage anyway on the beach anyway. So that's something that you guys got to think about also is, with this new age, I guess, of machines, you got to take that into consideration because we just don't want anybody using these tractors. So
Phil, when you rake First Beach, is that one garden tractor then ridden over to Second Beach to be done
No.
and then over to Third Beach. So there's 3 tractors?
No, we have 3 tractors
Okay.
that were all donated.
I thought we had 2.
We acquired another one last year from
Oh.
Jason and Lee. Jason and Lee donated one.
Oh, that was
We got
very
that. We got that at the end of the year, so we're all good.
nice.
And again, the other thing to think about, I know Dave, the first beach, I leave the tractor behind the shed. I don't know if anybody's seen it down there. I cover it with a little tarp. Dave Edgington goes back and forth with his from his house. Whoever does Third Beach, we got to make a decision if you want to leave it on the beach. That's another thing, guys. You know, do we want to leave it somewhere on the beach, or do you want them to take it home? Or I would say just leave it, but whatever. It's easier for whoever's doing it. Bill Taylor, his granddaughter, was doing both beaches last year. For a little clarity here. Bill, until the end of last year, I mean, she's been doing it for quite a couple of years for me now. And up until the end of last year, Bill finally let her use the tractor a couple of times. But she did the walking. She walked back and forth to Second and Third Beach, and she walked those beaches with the comb. Of course, you know, she's 18 years old or 17 years old. She can do those things, you know. But I'm sorry to lose her. So now we have decisions to make. And with that being said, also, Lisa Holber and the board, obviously, I don't know how this happens, or I would like to change the payout a little bit for the beach rakers, because I believe right now it's 70 on First Beach, 55 on Second Beach, and 65 on Third Beach. What I would like to do is take the since we're starting new with somebody new on Third Beach, take the $5 from Third Beach, move it to Second Beach, because I want the person on Second Beach, I'm giving them more duties to take care of the volleyball court, which nobody has been doing. So that's just my proposal. Thought process.
So you want to keep the $70 at First Beach,
Yep.
and you want to change Second Beach to be 50?
60.
6.
So 70, 60, 60.
60.
Because
Right now it's 70, 55, 65.
Correct.
You want to go 70, 60, 60, right?
Correct.
with the understanding that they take care of the volleyball court too.
It's already been discussed. Yes.
Right.
So that's, those are the beaches.
Anything else, Phil?
Oh, yeah. No question. We're all done there. Okay. We have, I'm working on the pavilion fans.
One of the beaches, I'll let you know.
Pardon me?
I'll consider doing one of the beaches. I'll let you know.
Well, the one of the beaches is Third Beach right now. Unless there's a teenager that wants to do First Beach, I'll give it to a teenager. But if not, I'll do it myself. But we're looking for somebody to do Third Beach.
If no one else volunteers, I'll consider doing Third Beach then, I guess.
Okay.
I'll create some sort of tractor with a blower and dual quad so I could do it quickly.
In a Hemi.
I mean,
I mean, we're going to put a news blast out in the April. Put in the newsletter. We'll put it out that we're looking for a Third Beach raker. That's what we usually do, and hopefully somebody comes forward. If not, Chris, thank you. I appreciate you.
So are we, just for the minutes from a decision perspective? So Chris, are we saying you are going to do it, or are you going to wait to see if anyone else comes forward?
I'm going to wait to see if someone comes forward. And by the
Got
time
it.
one comes forward, then I'll do it
Okay.
with a Hemi.
All right, pavilion fans. I don't know. Does everybody know that we're looking to get fans put in the pavilion? Does anybody need to be brought up on speed on that? Do we? I'm just working on it. Still trying to I got one price. I had 4 guys out there. I got one price, and I have one more guy I got to meet this winter out there. Probably within the next couple of weeks. I'll meet him out there and go from there.
So what was the first price you got though?
Pardon me?
What was the first price that you got?
6,500.
And did that include moving the lights? You had to move the lights so that you didn't get the strobe effect?
Yes, yes.
That
Yeah, it was
include-
installing 2 fans, getting rid of those 2 lights, and then putting 2 lights on one side and 2 lights on the other side of the
Okay.
pavilion.
So fans and lights.
6,500 installed.
And you're gonna get me prices on that?
Yeah, I'm still working on that, yeah.
Why don't we just do fans with lights?
Because then you're kind of directed.
It's all up to,
Get 'em-
everybody's giving me different,
uh,
it might work that way. I don't know.
all right.
They're saying that those lights won't be bright enough for all the pavilion. And then if it's too bright, you're not gonna like it because it's too bright. So I'm looking at dimmer switches. I'm looking at everything. I'll let you guys know what I come up with and what happens first before I do anything. But I am looking at all angles. Dimmer switches for the lights, the 4 lights, and on the fan, if there's dimmer switches on those. So I'm looking at everything. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Last thing for me is the porta potties. I finally got in touch with James over at Jansky. He's the owner. We are in a contract year. He agreed this year, starting July 1st, it would be, to go into a 3-year contract. I know we talked about a 5-year. He did not want to go out that far. And the last time we had a 2-year contract with him the first time. This will be our second time using him. So get ready because I'm going to confuse myself. The first year we paid $1,050 a month. Then we paid $200 to clean them, which means clean the outside and inside of the porta potties, a one-time cleaning. The outsides were looking pretty ratty first year. So I think we should do it every year. I did it last year also.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
The cleaning, the $200 to clean inside and outside, that's per porta potty. It's not
No.
a $200 for all the ones that we have.
Hang on. Stay tuned.
Okay.
Like I said, that was our first year. Stay tuned. Yes, but that was for all the porta potties.
So,
Okay.
so the money that you just gave us was what we've already spent, what you just did, right? This last year, or is this the first?
That was 2 years. That was 2 years ago.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Our first. I'm calling it the first year that I was in contract with him.
Okay,
We are going on our 3rd year.
okay.
All right. So the second year, we were at the 5250 again. He also cleaned them again, the inside and outside, for the 200. And after they were cleaned the second time, I looked around on the fences, the enclosures of all the porta potties. They looked like crap. So I said, "Hey guys, can you do those for me?" He goes, "Absolutely." They're there. They're cleaning them. They have the power washers. Why not? They charged me $650, an additional $650 to do the fences. So that was a total of $6,100 for that year 2 that we're in now.
Yep.
Year 3, 4, and 5. So I'm going to say the next three years. For the month, it'll be $1,263, roughly $1,263, give or take $5 or $10. The cleaning fee will be $300. The fence is $700 for a total of $85.75. I did a little calculations, and it doesn't. I don't have those figures with me. Sorry. It's a jump, but it's a 3-year contract. You got to keep that in mind. Any questions, comments?
In that 3 years, the 85-75 will remain constant for 3 years.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have to do the fence every year? 'Cause it's-
Do we have to? We don't have to do anything. Do I think we should? Yes. We want to play, I mean, it's something that you guys, everybody sees. So, you know, it's part of keeping things clean, keeping things nice so they don't fall by the wayside.
Yeah, I don't think $700 a year for that is worth haggling over, though. I mean, if we're going to save money, that's not an area where we should.
How many months are you paying him that 1263?
It's 6.
6, thank you.
6 months?
It's because we should close. We
No,
close.
no, yeah, I understand.
And I'll also say what I did, PS, to keep the cost down by $1,800. James and I and Tyler, the guy that cleans them, we decided that we're only going to do it. Right now, we do a 2-week cleaning the whole year. And I kind of said, you know, we talked about it. And again, this is still up for debate, whether you want to or not to. I know they did try to go to once a year quite some time ago for the whole summer. It didn't go well. It did not go well at all.
Once a week.
You mean once a week, right?
Once a week. I'm sorry. Once a week for the cleaning. It didn't go well. So James and I and Tyler's the one that comes out and cleans. The 3 of us got together. So we said, you know, the month of April and May, you really don't need twice a week cleaning.
Yeah.
The month of September and the half a month of October, you don't need 2 cleanings a week. He goes June, July, and August. And he goes even the first couple of weeks of June, you don't need, but play it safe. So I'm looking to do it twice a week for June, July, and August. So yes, we are cutting down the service a little bit, and the price is going up. I know, I don't know. When we had United in here, we were paying back then for United anywhere from $1,400 to $1,700 a month, and that was 3 years ago.
Hey, Phil, this is Dave Giroux. Is that my calculations correct? I'm thinking it's 25 to 30% increase.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Is that per year or for the 3 years?
Year over year, it's looking like a 25 to 30% increase.
Okay.
You know, I'm just wondering if I'm figuring something incorrectly.
No, no.
Existing service.
No.
So
It's one of those things, Dave, is that the first year he did this, he came in, I don't want to say blind, but he just started the business. When he came here the first year and cleaned those porta potties, he was here for 8 hours cleaning the porta potties alone for $200. Do I think he undercut it? Absolutely. I wouldn't have came out here for $200 to do it. And even the $1,050 that he's still giving us a week on the off weeks per se. I don't think it's a bad price. It's still cheaper than we were paying United. That I will tell you.
Phil, you're just to go to the figures, it's what we had been paying is $10.50 a month times 6 months, right?
Correct.
And that was 2 cleanings a week
Correct.
plus 200. And then the next year, same price plus $650 for the fences. And now
Correct.
it's going $1,263 plus 300 for the cleaning plus 700 for the fences. So to the percentage, it looks like it was a 10% increase from year 1 to year 2. And then it's a 20% increase from year 2 to year 3, 4, and 5. So
Okay.
we're going up 2%, but we're locked in for 3 years.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, I don't have the contract, which I will do. I'm sorry, I'll give to you once the contract, or once I get a kind of an okay, I'll write up, we'll have the contract written up.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's fine.
And I mean, I will say that, working with United was a nightmare, disgusting. They were terrible.
These guys do a good job, no question.
Pardon me?
These guys do a great job. There's no question about that.
They're fantastic. I mean, that's what I can't thank that. I couldn't thank them enough. You pay for what you get. Even though we were paying more for United, we didn't pay for crap there. I mean, literally, it was terrible. It was really terrible. It's nice that I did not have one complaint last year. I don't know. You guys make it again. It's up to you guys what you want to do. What I am looking for, if we decide to, I'm looking for the board to make a motion for a bid waiver for this.
Have you tried anybody else besides Jansky and United?
No. I mean, I know what Jason and Lee did, what we did 2 years ago. Trying to find somebody, because we own our own porta potties. It's like when you have a propane tank, if you don't buy it from the person, you get their propane, they don't like you. The people are out there, just, they don't want to get back to you. Or again, like I said, we had United, they sucked. I did get prices, the first year, 2 years ago, and Jansky is very reasonable, and I trust his work. But if you want more prices, I just don't, it's one of those things, guys. I'm sorry, I don't like wasting my time. Something I've been through. So, but if you want 2 more prices, I'll be happy to call up somebody and get them. But
Well, yeah, I mean, we have to decide right now. We just have to. Yeah, I hate the time waster, Phil. I get it. What's the rule on? I know we're required to but the board can overrule that.
We can vote to waive the bidding
Okay.
process.
I make a motion to waive the bidding process and have Phil go with this quote for 3 years.
Second.
All in favor? Any discussion? All ayes.
Yeah, I
Thank you.
just have a question. Phil. You think that he would be willing to compromise on his pricing at all?
Dave, I am one of those guys, even if it's not, anytime I shop for myself, my wife walks away from me when we go to the store. I've had people call me to go car shopping with them, and I could give you their numbers, and they would say he's crazy. They walk out on me because I get stupid. Wood James, I told him when he first gave this to me, I said, there's a little sticker shock. When I did the math, I said there's sticker shock. I said, you should send me a figure on what you have, because I wanted to make sure we were still in the same ballpark. And yeah, he was there, and he just said, Phil, he goes, you guys got a great deal the last 2 years. He goes, you're still getting a good deal for the next 3 years. Right now, yeah, it's a little sticker shock now.
We're happy with his work.
But so I did try. Yes, Dave, I did. I always try.
Thank you.
Okay. So I will go ahead and get a contract written up. Is this something that you guys want me to sign? Do you want somebody from the board to sign it? And I have signed it last year. I usually do sign them, but whatever you guys want.
Don't
I
you
will
have to
show it to
send
you.
that contract for us all to read or something?
Yes, I will. Yes, before it's signed, I will send a copy to all of you, and I will send a copy to Jansky. And yes, we'll go from there. It can be the A, okay, or nay, whatever. So
Good work, Phil.
One question, when you do 1 day a week, is it gonna be Mondays or Fridays? Not that it matters.
no, it
Just
does matter, Evelyn. It does. The once a week is going to be on Fridays.
Okay, that makes sense.
And the twice a week will be obviously Friday and It's either gonna be like Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday. That's the way we've been running it.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, thank you, Phil.
Great job,
All
Phil.
right, guys. Thank you very much. Happy New Year again. And any questions or comments, give me a call and I'll talk to you guys later.
Really happy about your news, Phil, by the way.
Thank you. I'm working on it. It's coming around. Thank you.
That's awesome, man.
I'll be in touch. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Thanks. Okay, so we'll wait for his contract. Technology, I had one thing on it really, and that was to finish up printing emails. Evelyn and I did it. I've got to get with Dave Edgington to do it. And that just allows for permissions on the drive. So that every time a board member changes, the permissions don't have to change.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
So I just got to get with Dave, and he's not here, Edgington. That's all I have on that. Any questions,
Thank you.
comments?
What's my email address? No,
Your
there's an alias.
first
Is it
speech-
Craig? Is it Craig M at?
Yes, at lakehaywardct.com.
Okay.
And you can give that out. Yeah, that was a little bonus. I don't know.
All right, Craig M.
That's his first speech rep too.
Yeah, but the alias.
His alias is right, which yours is still Evelyn paid all of that. That'll go into your same inbox.
And then what about, is this the right time to ask these questions to you or bring these up? What about the webmaster email
Okay, well, we'll,
afterwards? Okay,
yep, we
All
were
right.
going to talk about that.
okay, good.
I actually had to log out on my phone and
Yes,
go in with the
yes.
first speech rep. I was not getting emails.
You will not get emails unless you log in
screwed you
with
up.
first speech.
Yeah, she gave me.
No, it didn't even mess her up. She wasn't changed yet.
Okay,
You got it first, so it
all right,
immediately changed.
okay,
it.
that's fine.
But yeah, everybody's done except for Dave now. And I'll do it whenever I see him or whatever. Or talk to him.
Okay.
Water testing.
I spoke to Lisa. I will be taking it over. And like I mentioned, I'm probably going away for 7 to 9 days in July, so I might need somebody to cover for me.
So you do a total of 10 weeks, right?
I think so.
And it's $1,000 stipend.
Mhm,
So it's $100 for each sample week.
mhm.
So you might offer, if you're gone 2 weeks, offer somebody the $200 stipend.
I mean, if it's once a week, as long as the lake tests clean,
Right.
otherwise it's,
Well, no, if you're
And
gone
the-
for 2
and the
Mondays, if you're
yeah.
gone for 2 Mondays, just
yeah, I
offer,
don't have a problem
we
with that.
can just offer it to somebody who'll do it.
Lisa? She good?
Which Lisa, there's 2 there.
Lisa Beth?
She's there.
Lisa Holberg.
Yeah,
Does the water testing stipend get paid out twice a year?
no,
Cool.
that one in the newsletter I pay pretty much when that season's over. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be getting together with Lisa Long and going over what she has, and she will show me how it's done.
Cool.
Thank you.
All right, on to committees. Bylaws. Miss Lisa.
we don't have a lot. Colleen, her work day went sideways today, so she's not here. She had intended on zooming in or meeting in. But the only thing we wanted to table, both of us anyway, was we just don't know what the board's expectation is. And I know that John's here on the meeting. If the rental committee had any movement forward, as of right now, the bylaws committee doesn't see anywhere, anything, any dialogue whatsoever that we would have any confidence in addressing in the bylaws this year. So if you have an expectation or a direction on that, we're listening. The board.
So John, John, I just want to say, some of your stuff might come under the rules and regulations and
Right.
perhaps not the bylaws, so consider that too in your answer.
Well, that
And
was
we
one of the
explained
questions I
that, we
had.
explained that too in the,
Yeah, we had our first meeting Thursday night. Of the 12 regular members, 9 participated. One had a medical reason for not attending. The other 2, I'm not sure why they didn't attend. They may have had some difficulty logging in. The discussion went well. I've asked that we meet every 2 weeks. So our next meeting is going to be January 22nd. So what we'll try to do is meet on the alternate Tuesdays the alternate Mondays from the board meetings. There were a couple of discussions. Someone suggested that we do all of the due diligence and collect as much material as we can relative to what other associations are doing and the like, and then simply turn it over to the board. I don't think that's particularly productive. I think what we should do would be to offer some comments, either in the structure of possible bylaw changes and or changes to the rules and regulations for the board to entertain, modify, and then adopt. I think that's the appropriate direction rather than just turn everything over to the board. I think you're going to be starting all over from scratch if that's the case.
so the only thing I would add to that is that the bylaws operates on a specific schedule. We also meet every 2 weeks.
Mhm.
And our goal is to have a finished document to present to the board by April, so that if it's approved by the board, we then move to get it printed and mailed out, U.S. Postal Service.
Lisa, I think
So-
that's reasonable, time frame to do this in. Some folks are collecting information right now. Honestly, there's a couple of folks that I've spoken to outside of the meeting before we actually started meeting about the attorney. And I think Lisa, Laura, you sent me an email where you had contacted our attorney, who indicated he didn't believe he had a conflict of interest, and that's fine. But there are questions that have been raised about what is a business, and is a business the actual unit. So I think we have to address that. My personal feeling is that the association has a history of rentals, whether it's word of mouth, putting up a sign on your front lawn, and or even using a real estate agent. I don't know whether using an Airbnb or VRBO is much different than that, except technologically it is. And you may have less control about the people who rent. It's not family members. It's not, my cousin who wants to come into town, that kind of stuff. So I'm thinking that this is going to wind up with the ability of folks to rent through the internet, but with regulations established by the association. That would include perhaps a registration fee to be paid to the association, and a bunch of other, guidelines that perhaps the renters actually sign off on in terms of knowledge of our rules and regulations and the like. That's my personal thought. This may take a completely different direction, given the sentiments of some folks on the committee.
So on the bylaws committee, I will tell you that was pretty much our thought too, that the bylaws, we aren't in a position to interpret the law. Connecticut can't even interpret the law
Right.
with regards to what is a business. So we
Yeah.
were steering clear of that.
Yep.
Pending my inquiry tonight to the board. If the board wanted us to steer towards that, we would have to look at it, but we don't think it's in our purview. And we also agreed that whatever could be regulated with regards to rentals would come under regulations. So I guess as far as my bylaws report is, we're going to leave it right there unless the board says, hey, we've got great information. We think this can be in bylaws. We've discussed it with the attorney. This is going to fly. Try writing this. But
Mhm.
unless we hear that from the board, we're probably not going to go near rentals. Because I think it's under regulations. I think whatever you decide to do, whether it be a fee or whatnot, that's under regulations. I will tell you that we had a deep discussion. You can write whatever you want under regulations or bylaws, but if you don't have enforcement, it's the
Precisely.
same. It's the same as
Precisely.
blight or anything else. If you're not going to enforce it,
That was pointed out by several people at the meeting. We can't control people walking their dogs. How are we going to control this? Who's going to enforce this? Phil just got off, but, parking in the parking lots, who's going to go around checking to make sure they have their tags in the windows on the weekends when it's busy? No one wants that responsibility to do that. So enforcement is an issue, Lisa.
yeah.
The only thing I can say is that once the rules and regulations are in place, I suppose those folks who are most affected by it, I'm going to say the immediate neighbors, may turn in their neighbors and say, listen, I saw 10 cars parked on the front lawn and a tour bus, which I actually have photographs of. Somebody sent me that. And, I at that point, that person's in violation of the rules and regulations. And
So-
maybe we can fine them. And failure to fine, we'd have to lien the property. All that takes a legal effort and money.
So, and again, any fine or anything like that comes under regulations.
Yes.
I'm just gonna end my bylaws report unless y'all have questions for us. I appreciate the feedback that we've gotten so
Right.
far. We did hit the ground running on last Monday. We had a lot of great discussion and I think we're all in the right direction as far as the bylaws go. If you have anything else, please email Colleen and myself. You all have our emails now. If something comes up additionally, but I've heard from 2 board members. If anybody else has anything, please just let us know. But we are in progress. That's all I
Okay.
got.
And frankly, I've said everything I can say right now relative to the rental committee anyway,
Okay.
except that we will meet on the 22nd.
It's a great day.
Thank you both.
Yes, thank you both.
Thank you both.
Okay.
I have a question on bylaws.
Evelyn has a question for bylaws.
Shoot. Got an email today about board members shall not hold a stipend position. And
So
then
it's being discussed, but it's still, gosh. I mean, do you want me to get into the nitty gritty? There's several different views on that.
yeah,
Yeah, so there's been talk brought up by 3 members that I can think of that stipend positions, the board members shall not have stipend positions. However, there's also been talk about putting a dollar limit on that. Because, I mean, quite frankly, the treasurer shouldn't be on the board. That's my personal opinion. The tax collector, whatever. So as long as we're going in that direction, and properties, those are the 3 big stipends that have there's been demonstrated conflict in the past.
I guess I disagree with that, the demonstrated conflict. And we have a hard enough time getting board members,
I know.
volunteers. A lot of us are doing double duty. So
Is the concern about conflict of interest because board members can vote on the amount of the stipend and whether things should be changed or not?
That's
So-
one of them. That's
So-
one of them.
I'm the webmaster and I have $1,000 stipend that I did not take for other reasons. But if I were to take that and then we have a vote or an issue came up and we need to change the amount, then wouldn't it just be that I recuse myself from that vote because it impacts me either positively or negatively? And so I guess I'm not asking it as a question. I'm just providing it as feedback to bring back to your committee, because at the end of the day, Evelyn's point is valid that, we have a hard enough time trying to find people to do it, right? The only reason I'm doing webmaster is because nobody else wanted to do it, right? I don't know what the hell I'm doing with that. I'm learning on the fly, but I'm doing it, right? And if Evelyn wants to step up and do the water testing and that's $1,000 stipend, then I don't think that, you know, Evelyn's a board member, but she didn't decide that that was $1,000 stipend, right? So I guess, is that the conflict of interest? And if so, then there's ways around that. Does that make sense?
No, I hear what you're saying. I'm going to bring it back to the committee. I have my own personal views on it. I think
That's
the
fair.
larger stipends, I can just speak as a treasurer. I don't think the treasurer needs to be on the board. And there might be a situation where the treasurer might run for board, but also getting a stipend like that. I think it muddies things.
Okay.
But I'm one person of 6. So there's been a lot of discussion on this, and there's been a lot of discussion on stipends versus amount of stipends. Like, is there a line? Because your newsletter editor could very well be on the board. Your water tester could be on the board. Technology could be on the board, or the other one, the webmaster.
I almost think maybe it comes down to stipend / position. I mean, having a tax collector and or a treasurer stipend and on the board gives you a lot of power.
How does the stipend give you power?
Well, not so much the stipend, but it is a stipend position. It is a well-paid stipend.
But it's
position.
above and beyond your board obligations, completely, totally separate from your board obligations.
Right. So I'm not really sticking towards the stipend. I'm sticking towards the position.
Craig, if I was on the board, I would have a whole lot more to say during these meetings, because things get said that I go, what? And, you know, and I would have a whole lot more input about some things from a financial perspective if I was on the board.
So how is that a bad thing that if you were on the board, how would that be a bad thing? You'd have more feedback and input.
Because I don't like to color outside the lines. And I look at some of these reports and I go, well, wait a minute. I see some things that get spent on some things, and I think I'd be a little more controversial. And it's not so much the power, it's ownership. Like, I feel like the budget, I own it.
I could see it being, like, if you were running the budget committee and then you also vote on the budget.
Right.
That could be a conflict.
Sure, but
So-
I think it's easy to define which positions would have that conflict. And I don't think water tester or webmaster are those positions.
That's why
So
I'm
that's what you're
saying,
saying.
That's what you're
so
saying.
I
agree with that.
did ask the attorney about the treasurer or the tax collector being on the board.
Yeah.
And he said he thought it was a very poor idea.
Yeah, which I think that's right.
That's the direction that we're talking about. We're not talking about, you know, so the suggestions came our way, and the 6 of us are discussing, and there has been discussion, and well, what these maybe, but not these.
Right.
And a lot, and that's why I said the three large stipends is what we're looking at.
Okay.
I think what we're really talking about is checks and balances.
Yes.
You know, does somebody have the appropriate checks and balances in place?
Right.
Good point, Dave.
Agreed.
So, but I will take those thoughts back.
And
So-
Evelyn, that was my email, as you know, but those are just thoughts. They ask for people's recommendations and thoughts, and it doesn't mean that's what the bylaw is going to be. That was submitted to the bylaw committee for discussion, and then they will bring forth to the Board of Governors what their recommendations are.
Well, I just wanted to give my thoughts on it. We worked very hard a few years ago to reduce stipends, so I get it. That was more a budget thing.
But you should put your thoughts in writing and send it to the bylaws committee, because that's what they're asking for. They asked everyone to put their thoughts and send their ideas and thoughts to them.
Yeah, I've just been pondering it for a few days.
Well, then I'll look forward to your email.
Anything else on bylaws?
Thank you, Lisa.
No
Thanks,
problem.
Lisa. Okay, budget. I have 4 people so far. The quorum's 4. I'd like to get another one or two if I could. I did ask Nancy Kavanaugh to chair, and she gracefully declined. Tish and Keith Marvin, Tish Mago and Keith Marvin have offered to co-chair. I'm going to feel that out a little bit more. I need to talk to Keith and Tish and see where that's at. But at the very least, we have four people for the budget committee. So that's all I know so far. Any questions?
So until a chair is determined, are they able to move forward?
Well, they really don't need to yet, Lisa, till probably like end of May.
May, yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So it's just kind of getting,
Oops, sorry. And with the budget committee, I know that you're probably going to hand off, but you don't plan on being on it.
no.
So I know that, I'm just stating. So in anticipation of that, I imagine I might be going to a couple more board budget meetings than I had been to last year.
You
At
may.
the bare minimum, just at least trying to inform whatever budget committee's there, what I can do for them as far as reporting.
Right. Tish and Keith, I think, are pretty well up to speed, like what we did last year. But yeah, probably at least. But we'll talk more towards May, you know, when we get everybody on board. Thank you, though. Anything else on budget? Okay, the dam, everybody saw the email where there was the erosion. Michelle's gonna get on it. Everybody see that?
I didn't see erosion. I just saw running water. The erosion was on the road, right?
Yeah, Tim sent out an email. He reached out to the director of Public Works for the town. The erosion is going from the road into the spillways. So he wants to have riprap and some rock or something put in there because it's deteriorating the road and the.
And that's the town, not us.
Yeah. So her reply was she had 26 roads that were damaged. She will get to it as soon as possible.
Do any of the other roads have a couple of million gallons of water behind it?
I don't know.
At least it held up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of water.
Yeah. So that's all I know on the dam. Any questions? Events. Lynn Butler is going to join us next month. She's doing some great things. She's booked a lot of bands. She's excited. I think it's going to be a great season. We'll see what happens, but she did book, I haven't put the email blast out yet because I have to do the domain authentication, but she did book Savage Brothers. She's got like 6 or 7 bands booked already. July.
She got them for July?
Mhm.
Nice.
Yeah, I think I want to say the 17th. I could be wrong. Don't quote me.
Cool.
Yeah, so she's doing a good job. I'm excited. Okay.
I have a question. Dave Eggington last month brought up about moving Lake Hayward days. Did you have a chance to talk to Lynn about that?
I did not. Her and I are actually just been going back and forth. She mentioned it. I mentioned it. It's a bylaws issue, so I need to talk to her.
No, just the carnival.
Yeah.
The carnival's in the
For
bylaw.
clarification, yep, Dave Edgerton was looking to move the carnival, not Lake Hayward days.
Can we decide if the carnival was a part of it or not?
We did. I got the bylaws yeah.
We did, Julia?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did. Let me look.
I thought it was still kind of,
I thought it was, yeah, it's in there. I think that was the problem. That's why I said maybe not move it this year, maybe next year, but whatever.
Why does he want to move?
Because everybody's going back, the kids go back to school earlier, and he thinks attendance has dropped over the last few years. So he'd like to move it to the start of Lake Hayward days, not the end.
He even talked about moving it to July versus August.
I think we keep it in August, but I don't see a problem moving it if it can be done. We were just wondering if Lynn had booked something for that day.
So last year we moved it 1 week earlier, and I think that worked out really, really well.
That was awesome.
And I think Dave was talking about moving it even earlier than that. I do have
Right.
a meeting scheduled with Dave and Diane. I think it's Wednesday of this coming week. Actually, Wednesday this week. I don't know if they remember. I'll just reach out to them just to see if they're still able to meet to talk about that.
Well, I think Dave, if they wanted to move it, my concern was if Lynn had booked a band already for that Saturday night.
Yeah, and that's a valid concern, right? Because I talked to Lynn about that and she was telling me which days she's already booked.
Right.
I think she populated the calendar, which I haven't looked, but I thought she said she populated the calendar.
I have not.
Yeah. I think July is too soon personally, but
I do too.
Very good too. Yeah.
I do 3.
You guys, I just checked. It doesn't specifically say the carnival. It says annual lake celebration that runs during the 3rd week of August.
Yeah, I
Okay,
don't think there's anything
Carnival.
specifically what things happen what day.
right. I think Dave wanted to move that whole week as well. He wanted a bylaw change to change,
And I think that's where the bylaw thing came in, yeah.
yeah,
Lake Hayward days moved to no time.
right, because it's critically that's the, right, Julia?
Yeah, because kids were going back to school the 3rd week of August. So he was saying, let's move, well, we can check the minutes, but yeah.
Second
know.
week or something.
Well,
I'll have to regroup with him. But so are we in agreement that the carnival is not a part of Lake Hayward Days? Is that what we're saying?
I don't think there's anything specific that says what happens what day. It just says it's supposed to coincide with the member meeting. This is an association meeting, which one takes place in August.
Association.
Yeah, something about that week.
The planned activities for the annual lake celebration that runs during the 3rd week of August from Saturday before the annual meeting to the following Saturday. That's
Right.
Lake Hayward Days. That's the committee. They're supposed to plan that.
To move it up to Saturday,
Right.
carnival.
So if it goes, so it's specifically saying Saturday to Saturday, so that's a set amount of days. So would we replace something? with the
I don't
carnival?
know. We have to get so much into the weeds. That's Lake Hayward Days.
Change,
We're just talking about carnival. So as Evelyn's saying, it's just part of the celebration. I think that's why Dave was trying to carve that out. Maybe that's what he's trying to carve out this year and then get the bylaws changed so that you could move Lake Hayward Days to a different week in August.
all right, we'll ask Dave when he's back from his sabbatical, if he can reach out to the bylaws committee with his recommendation. I know that's what he wanted to do. But
It doesn't say anything about a carnival. It just says entertainment.
Right,
So
right,
why don't we just,
right.
why do we need to go to bylaws and say, let's move the carnival? Why don't we just come to an
he
agreement?
wants to move Lake Hayward.
No, Lake Hayward Days, Craig, because it should be moved. There's, kids are going back to school the 3rd week of August was his
What's
point.
the whole thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I thought it
Oh,
was,
I thought he only wanted to miss carnival.
He wants to move carnival, but he also wants to move the whole thing. The whole.
I
Lake
get it.
Hayward.
So that has to go to bylaws committee to.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
That's easy.
Excuse me, is there any more questions for me? I'll get off if that's the case.
Oh, John, I don't think so unless anybody has any other questions.
Great work and thank you for it. Thanks, John.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Thank
Sean.
Thank you all.
John.
Good night.
What I was just going to say was, so essentially we're talking about via the bylaws is moving it from the 3rd week to the 2nd week. Is that correct?
I don't know. We'd have to look at the minutes exactly what Dave wanted,
Yeah.
but he was proposing moving it to a more favorable week when you have more kids that are not in
Right.
school.
Which would make sense the 2nd week. in my opinion, because they're, by the third week, they're getting out of town. So,
Yeah, I think we need clarification from Dave because he was talking a little bit about July also.
Right, I
All
remember
right.
that.
July versus keeping it in August, whether it's a week up or not. So I think.
Oh, we keep it in August.
Well, we gotta hear what he has.
Let's,
first.
Let's just move on, table that.
yeah, we'll table it and
Noted.
wait till Dave is back. But Lisa, just so you have a little tickle, that's in the talks.
He just needs to put it in an email.
Right. So I'll reach out to him. Nominating, I don't think we're there yet, but we're going to be there. So we'll need a nominating committee.
Yeah, I'm going to say good night now.
Good night.
Good night,
Yeah,
Lisa.
Lisa, thanks, Aaron.
Thank you, Lisa.
Where's the off button? Where's the hang up button?
Hit the red button.
Do you want me to just kick you out?
No, now I'm recording, damn it.
Oh, it's right here.
I was going with my instinct.
I didn't think it was there. I thought it was here.
It wasn't going to be there, but it's the only place I had. So
I hate that one. Anyways. Where are we at? Nominating?
yeah, but we'll wait till Ellen comes back. Well, nominating is really nothing anyway because we're not.
Yeah.
And then after that, we already talked about rental.
Yep. We get tennis pickleball courts.
There's not much of an update. We're just waiting for good weather, and we have a group of people that are going to help pressure wash the courts. John, who just left, is one of them.
Oh, that's
But I have a
nice.
list of folks that are ready as soon as the weather breaks to pressure wash, and then we'll see where we are in line for the schedule to get the course refurbished.
Cool.
Yep, and we have met, there's a few other things going on with the pickleball tennis committee. Pete Rutledge is looking into new signage. The tennis courts, we're looking into seeing if we're going to have to keep them locked. But we, right now, there's a lot of dogs and kids with their bicycles and rollerblades and everything else going on the courts. So if we're going to put this type of money into the courts, it's not a good idea. It's actually, it's not even a good idea to go on there with like work boots.
Our regular shoes, right?
But how do you, if you keep it locked, then how do you want to play? How do you play?
You could have a combination lock. There's a couple of things that the committee's talking about. But one of the things that we don't want is for the kids
Kids
You know,
riding
the-
bicycles?
and dogs. Dogs with their sharp nails will tear up these courts. It's very expensive to refurbish these courts. So we're discussing that. That's part of the committee. We're also discussing new signage. We're looking at things online, so you could sign up. So we already have something for pickleball, but we have another group that's going to look at tennis. So we could have the same, a very similar thing with Team Reach for tennis. So we could get more folks that want to, that don't know, hey, someone wants to play tennis, but I don't know that they want to play tennis. So there's some communication that we'll have with Team Reach for that. So the committee has really done a great job in looking at all aspects of this. We're also looking at that grant. So hopefully we'll be able to get a $500 grant through the tennis association.
That's
With,
awesome.
with Tom Landers is looking into that. A lot of things going on, but really not much to report for the next couple of months.
They were playing pickleball in New Haven the other day in East Rock. There was like, I don't know, 10 courts going.
That's where my daughter lives.
Really?
East Rock.
I'm not far from there.
Everyone's going to make an appearance in 24.
I
Did you start with the town?
no,
Oh.
I haven't had time.
That's it. That's all I have.
Okay. So executive session was on the agenda, but it was just part of the template. We're not looking to go in executive session. So unfinished business. I don't want to talk about the property discrepancy. I just want to kind of let you know where it's at. We already discussed in executive session, how we wanted to proceed. So I've been working with the attorney and developing a letter to send out. That's not done yet. When it's done, I will forward it to all of you to admire and look at. And put your comments on if you have any or concerns.
Any idea of how long it's gonna take?
Um,
And the letter's going to just that one.
I'm thinking about that too, because the two owners felt affected. I'm working on that now. Yeah.
But timeframe, any guess on that?
It shouldn't be too much longer.
Lawyers go slow.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and the right questions have to be asked to him too. So, but anyways, it is moving along and we should, I should get the letter out to all of you soon.
Okay.
Okay, code of conduct.
So I came up with a draft for code of conduct. I sent over to Craig. Craig and I, and Jeff, hasn't seen it yet, but Craig has, ideas that we're going to get together and discuss, and it's not ready for prime time.
Yeah, no, it's not.
So, but once it is, then we'll share it. I would think we'll be able to get it ready for prime time for next month.
Yeah, no question. Yeah. Even sooner than that, and we can,
Yeah, hopefully we'll have it out sooner before we meet for next meeting. And my bad for not sending it to Jeff at the same time. But once Craig and I get together and we'll make sure that Jeff is on distribution for that as well.
Okay.
I have a question on that. Do we have does Pula have a mission and vision statement?
If you go on the website,
I couldn't find anything. I mean, I don't know anything that says like the mission of Property Owners Association of Lake Hayward is to bring enjoyment and happiness and frolic, I don't see any.
it is on there.
Okay.
It's a challenge to find it.
Okay. But all right, but it exists is my question. Okay. So I'll dig and find it because I think that a mission and vision statement
Should be up
goes
front.
along with a code of conduct. And then, another comment to that is just that, the bylaws committee is meeting as well. And does something just get said, added to the bylaws about the board of governors? And then it doesn't
Right.
have to be a document that gets signed, but we can talk this week. I don't know what your schedule looks like, but
Just keep in
Not
mind
as
that
crazy as last week.
okay, good.
the charter says it takes 2/3 of the membership to terminate a board member,
The charter says it takes 2/3 of the membership.
of the membership to terminate a board
So that can only
member.
happen at one meeting.
Correct. Or a special meeting could be called for it.
Oh.
And hope you get 2/3 of the membership.
So
Okay, but to the
so
same
it's
point, like if
verbiage.
we get to the point where we have to terminate a member, then we got bigger issues.
Yes, we do.
Member of the board of governors. is what I'm
Yes,
saying.
yes.
And I think that the idea of a code of conduct came because of recent experiences.
Yes.
And I would hope that we all wouldn't get to a point where one of us needed to be terminated.
Agreed.
know?
Agreed.
But I do think that something needs to be in writing that this is the conduct that we all agree to by being members of the board of governors.
And I agree with that too.
Okay.
But I just want to make sure you guys knew that. So, and 2/3 of the membership would be a quorum is said in our charter to make 40 makes a quorum. So it would be 2/3 of 40 as a membership. To
2/3 of 40.
Mhm.
Okay.
So
All right. All right. We connect this week, Chris. And Jeff.
good stuff.
Yep.
Okay. Gift matrix.
So I did this a long time ago and I don't think I ever sent it to you,
No, but
but I did create one.
did you? All right, because I wanted to ask. So, our webmaster is no longer our webmaster. He was our webmaster for 10 years. Our tax collector was our tax collector for, I don't know how many years, 10 years. he got a gift. How do we pick and choose? Do we give our webmaster, who was our webmaster for 10 years, a gift? And if we do, well, do we give Lisa Long, who was our water tester for 2 years? They're stipend volunteers. How do we choose that? How do we pick and choose?
I just created a matrix. And then a nominal
Based on
fee.
years?
No, not based on years. It's very nominal. So most of everybody would get like $50, even if you were here 20 years.
So, but is that just for a board member, Chris, or is it for stipend people, or is it?
It's broken out, but I mean, we're doing this all volunteer. Most of the fees that I came up with, no one's getting $200 or $300 or,
Some big elaborate
anything,
gift.
nothing elaborate. I think the highest dollar amount was, I'll send it to you, but it's very nominal.
All right.
It's like $50 for most people if you volunteer, no matter, what you did.
Got to see out your term.
Yeah, you see out your term, and nothing is more than $100. I know that.
Right. So, and everybody knows that I sent Phil, Kathy, Hema, and Lynn $75 Cornerelli's
Gift cards, yeah.
Yes.
That place is good. It's pretty good.
So
I'll send it to you, and maybe we could talk about it and then have it for next month.
okay, perfect.
I completely forgot about it, but I know I created it.
Well, it was just, like I said, right now, we're kind of like, well, do we send something to Mike Trocchi? And if we do, then we should send something to Lisa Long, I think, right? I mean.
But to your point, they were paid. They're
Right.
stipend positions. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes.
So do you maybe not send something?
I don't know.
Is that-
I don't know. That's why I'm asking
I
for.
think that's one of the deciding factors, right? So I don't know that the amount is in question so much. It's more the who. So is it only folks that are stipend? Is it any volunteer? Because I think when you talk about any volunteer, there's a lot of volunteers when you even look at Lake Hayward days, right? So it's really the who.
I didn't include the volunteers like that, Lisa. I just included the board members that, that are established.
Board members or stipend positions.
Or stipend positions.
So,
Yeah,
and that's perfect, right? Because I think that's what we're looking for. So the what in order. Yeah. Okay.
And I think if you look at it, it's not going to be a big line item every year. You're going to have, one or two people. If they continue on for the next year, they don't get a gift that year. They got paid to do it. But when they end their term,
Right.
right, then you say, hey, look, thank you for everything. We really appreciate you.
Yes.
Here's $100 at the restaurant. Go have some fajitas. Like, I don't think that's, it's not going to be a lot of money.
It wasn't a lot. It was $50. And
Yeah.
I think the president and vice president was $100.
But I think if we agree to in your May, we agree to the terms, it has to be somebody who did at least one full term and saw it through. If they quit halfway through, then you don't get a parting gift. And like Mike Trocchi did 10 years.
Right.
So, but it doesn't have to be a $1,000 gift. It has
Right.
to be here's a gift card. Thank you for your service. You no longer are doing your position. And I don't think it needs to go through any major board approval, right? It's a small, don't we have a line item for?
We have hospitality.
Yeah.
But it's just a matter of keeping it.
Consistent.
Consistent.
Yeah.
It's determining who. Yeah.
Totally agree with that. Yeah.
So I will send it to you. I have it. I'll send it and we can tweak it if we need to.
Cool.
Okay. I just didn't, like I said, I didn't know what to do with Mike, and Lisa Long.
I want to keep making Mike work, so.
I can wait till next.
I had a call with him on the way
Oh,
here.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I quit. I want to know what my stipend's gonna be.
Big hug. Big hug.
I'll take it.
All right. See the last item, Craig?
Yeah,
See, it says configure email,
yeah, we already did that.
Done.
webmaster email.
Oh, okay,
So that's what that was about.
all right.
So personally, I think that one should be kept separate, which would mean you'd have to monitor 2 emails.
That means I have to have 2 freaking Google logins?
I've got like 4.
Listen, I already have kids that I have to monitor. I run into
I know.
monitor 2. Why keep it separate?
Because if I add it on to your alias,
But can't you just forward that webmaster, anybody who sends, can you just make that an alias for me?
I could, but when I do that, that becomes a part of your email. And the permissions in all the folders and everything change. That's why I want to keep it separate.
All right, I
because
understand.
our webmaster won't necessarily always be on the board.
I get it. Yeah, that makes sense. But who emails that? Who sends stuff to that?
Not a lot. I mean,
I do.
Lisa does. The board will. Like, well,
It's Craig M at Lake Hayward. But my point is, it's like, so, and Lisa, you, and I apologize, I think I replied to your email, but I didn't have my email. Lori and I set it up and it was a few days after, so.
No
I
worries.
didn't. But my question is, if I check it once a week, like if I just build it into my Monday routine and I check it, is that sufficient or does it have to be checked?
I think it's sufficient. And I think but here's the key. Once you know, like
That
now.
things are gonna be coming, like after this meeting, there's gonna be minutes that have to get uploaded in a video.
Yes.
Got it.
And then 2 weeks after this meeting, the officers get together, we set the agenda
Yeah.
for the next meeting. So then you'll get the agenda.
Does the membership email webmaster for any reason whatsoever?
Not typically.
Okay,
So
that's fine.
really
We
it's
can keep
not,
it, then we can keep it separate.
and what
I'll
I
just-
can look into is maybe I can forward that email to you.
We can, let's offline it, but
Yes.
I have no problem setting it up separate. I'll just check it. I'll
Okay.
just add it to my phone and it'll just be one more friggin' thing I gotta look at.
I have a few too.
I know.
So, okay, so that's all I wanted to talk about
Okay.
that. And then webmaster stuff.
So I just want to say to everybody about the webmaster stuff, I'm learning this stuff on the fly. So I don't think it's rocket science, but that being said, it is a little weird, the back end of this portal that we use. So as long as everybody's okay with what we have right now, I know one of the pushes was to maybe update the system and go find something new. You know, like I think I mentioned my website that I use for my business is like 1,000 times easier because it's all built.
Right.
I don't have to add plugins. I don't have to do anything. I just have to upload stuff.
Yep.
So as long as for like the next short period of time, because I got a bunch of stuff going on, we're okay with what we have and I fumble through it. And then I would say once we get into the spring, then I can focus more on trying to change the website. Is that
Yeah,
fair?
that's
Does that make
fine.
sense?
That's fine.
okay?
So
Improvement.
Craig, have you officially accepted that position? Because at our last meeting, you were thinking about it.
I was officially told that
Voluntold.
His name,
I
I
was
saw it.
officially told that my excitement about the position was appreciated and that you talked to Mike. So I've officially accepted that position.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I was voluntold to do that. So.
He did that.
And there's no stipend. I'm not taking the stipend. So that's if I take the stipend, I have to go through a whole rigmarole with my business and regulations, and I have to disclose it, and I have to report it, and it's just not even worth opening up that can of worms. So,
We could reallocate that to the sign.
or to the gifts,
Or
Or
to
the porta
the,
potties.
okay,
and I am too. We would obviously tell.
or to the geese.
We would obviously,
How does it give it to
whatever.
But I guess I would like to reallocate it somewhere where it can be used because, if I were to take it, I would do something with it. So,
Yeah.
Anyways,
That's great. Thank you.
you're welcome.
I'll take it. Okay, any other unfinished business? New business. So we need a, location for May and August.
I could do that.
Chris, you want to do May?
Sure. 161 Lake Shore Drive.
161 Lake
Dave
Shore.
Giroux will provide the refreshments.
All right, anybody want to do August? We need an August person.
My cottage is tiny, so it would have to be on the deck, but
Well, that's why,
Yeah.
that's how I am too. I
but
mean, I
like,
can't,
the weather, I don't know.
August 12th. That's my sister's birthday.
I won't be at that meeting. My daughter's getting married August 11th.
So we can't come to
Your
your
daughter's
cottage.
getting married
You
August.
can go to my cottage, but
My son's getting married August 11th.
really,
To her daughter?
Isn't that amazing?
That's great.
it sure is.
Well,
That's their
You'll do it.
anniversary
Okay.
when they first started dating.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that's
What
cool.
number are you? You are 327.
Oh,
Well, you're doing the next one. You're gonna double dip. You're not getting paid extra for that.
we'll talk.
Okay. That's all I have. Does anybody have any other new business? Everyone's got new business.
So Laurie and I had a conversation. I am concerned about these new houses that are being built down here because it is called Lake Hayward Preserve. They're gonna start building in April.
We fought the hell out of this and we didn't get anywhere.
I know. My concern is that we have people now that buy property in the area that think they have access to the lake.
Right.
You said I don't know if you had time, you're gonna talk to Jim.
Yes, I need to talk to Jim about a couple of things, but
My suggestion is without making it look cheesy or making us look like snobs, somehow put something on that Lake Hayward sign that says,
Members only?
Members only.
I thought it said members only.
no,
the one on the beach does,
the beach
Julia.
ones do
No.
that, is nothing. And we've had requests
Or a private community?
from other properties that have purchased,
Yes, we have.
thinking, they could use the facilities or they could buy a
A summer
seasonal
Summer
pass.
pass. Yeah.
that's crazy.
And I mean, monitoring the parking lot. I don't know. I don't know if that's enough.
Well, what came up in the town meetings was that we can't tell them they can't use the lake,
No,
but we
they're
can
already
tell them,
outside.
but we can tell them they can't use our beaches, but who's gonna police it?
In our facilities, right?
Right.
Well, we can bring it up.
So just something to think about.
Yeah, I think we should talk
If
about it.
anybody has any suggestions, I don't want to make that sign down there look cheesy, but I think we need to think about what we can do.
Perhaps we put on there we're a taxing district.
No, not gonna mean anything to anybody.
They're gonna say,
But if you say
well,
private, members only, then you have to say it in a way that you're not being jerks about it. But you have to say it in a way that
Private,
you know if you're a member or not.
private members comes
Yeah, I know.
across a little snooty, but
Well,
it's true. We do pay taxes to live here.
but additionally, it might not become an issue. Your concern might not come to fruition. I'm not saying that it will or won't,
I'm
but,
just, it depends on what they say.
right, because one of the things that came up in the town meeting was the real estate agents who are then selling the property, because this person is just building it. It's just a developer. But
Right.
real estate agents are gonna sell the houses. And what are they going to say to the people?
Right.
And it
And-
cannot be policed. The town said they can't police it.
That's right,
You know, they
Right.
can't, anybody can say whatever they want.
right.
So, we used to, many years ago, have security, and maybe we talk about that again, just getting security for the 2 high months of the season, that they're gonna look, check for tags, and they're gonna make sure people are members that are on the beaches. Maybe that's something we have to start paying for again for 2 months.
Maybe July and August, Julia.
Yeah.
Agree, Julie. I think we should talk about it. And
Someone
maybe
that has done it.
signage, More signage.
Someone that has done it as a volunteer, our members can be nasty
Do we see, what do you mean?
when you tell them that, where's your parking pass or.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
Do we wait to see if it actually becomes an issue?
I don't think it's gonna be an issue this summer.
Well, the houses aren't gonna be
Right,
finished.
I think by next summer, we're gonna have to figure out how we wanna handle it.
But that might be something we might want
We
to
have some
discuss
time.
with the budget committee and consider. So public safety used to be, or it still is a lingering committee that is not populated. And public safety was the one that would monitor the police patrol and all that kind of thing.
Mhm.
And all they did was book police for bans. She did not patrol the parking
Well, there was,
lots.
I mean, all right, so if you read in the bylaws, it tells you what public safety is. I'm just saying that it's not that anymore, but perhaps we look into security for July, August and kind of head it under that.
Well, to your point, I don't think it's going to be an issue this year.
No, but next year I think it could be.
Has in years past, have there been many complaints about any of the members even? Like, has it been an
Parking
issue?
issues?
Well, I mean, parking issues happen,
Yeah,
but like, if Chris was parking in the wrong spot, I'm not gonna go break his stones. You know, but if somebody was like running patrol and said, excuse me, you can't park here. It's like, you have to know your audience.
Right,
And
right.
a lot of times when you have somebody doing a security job, they don't know their audience. So they don't know how to handle situations.
If they don't have a hang tag, they can't park.
True. But look at the nights where we're parked all over the grass because there's nowhere else to park
Oh, for like a band.
for like a band. Yeah. And
but
technically,
everybody's got to have a hang tag. even
Sure,
if you're
but-
parked there.
okay. But okay. Anyways, I'm just
Right?
saying, yeah, that's true.
I don't think we need to.
I just don't think it's an issue. If somebody came up to me because I forgot to put my hang tag out, well, that's an easy issue to fix.
Right,
And it shouldn't get to the point where I have to be nasty to somebody.
right.
I
Well,
think it depends. I think it depends on how broad you want to get with this topic, because I'll give you an example. By the fire station on really warm weekend days, people park by that fire station and they walk down to Third Beach and they have no access. They should have no right to it at all. But who's going to go and police that?
Right.
Yeah, I see people walking in past my house at the north end. Kids carrying floats.
That's maybe why we really need to talk about the public safety or the security thing again. If it's that much of an issue.
So
You know,
is it an issue or isn't it an issue?
I
It
agree.
sounds like Dave's saying it is an issue because he's got.
Well, I
people
mean,
up-
does it happen all the time? No, but have I seen it? Yes.
Something to think about.
Yeah, I think it's something we should definitely discuss further. Again, there's a threshold of when something becomes an issue, you know, and I don't know. I've been at First Beach for 2 years and I haven't seen anybody down there that didn't belong or that wasn't a renter or somebody visiting. You know, I see people that I don't recognize, but there haven't been any issues because of it. And I'm not going to go up to everybody and be, excuse me, who are you with? Who, excuse me, I don't know you. Who are you with? That just gets a little nuts, right?
Yeah.
But maybe somebody else would do that. Maybe that's why they're asking back to them. I don't know.
No, traditionally, we just check hang tags, and I have members in my face.
Oh, for the hang tags? All right, I get that. Tell me who it is.
I've heard some war stories.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty.
Okay. No, we should definitely talk about the safety aspect of it for sure.
Well, that's all I got. Does anybody else have any new business? Any more, F?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Second that motion.
Motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Yay.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Take care.
Be well.
Nice, guys and gals.
Bye.